One.
Why would you do that? Hello, we are back with Death unto Madness. So far, we have gotten a whole lot of madness and a whole lot of death in a very short amount of time. So I'm excited to just see more of both as we continue. I think we should pick up with Alpheus. Um, Alpheus, you're stewing about the murder of this man in front of the whole city. What would you be doing? What goal would you try to pursue? What is Alpheus kind of on a mission to do right now as we pick up with him?
I think my first my first priority would be to go talk to other um, blue robes, whatever we want to call them, and get their take and describe to them my feelings, and then see how to proceed. Because basically,
Yeah.
basically, this psycho has thrown a wrench in my whole plan. Now I'm not even worried about my village. Now I'm just worried that this guy's gonna ruin it for everybody, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I'd first go there. That's what I would do. But I don't know if that's like a thing you would do. I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
No, for
Am I
sure. No, you're
supposed to
totally
do
fine.
something?
I was just chewing. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to finish that chicken as quickly as possible. No, that totally makes sense, right? So, what you're doing, right, is you're trying to find other like town representatives along the same line as you, and basically, yeah, just start to kind of like very slowly
I
see
want to
if,
gauge. Yeah, I want to get
yeah,
a gauge of the situation.
and maybe somewhere along the lines, there's a revolution that happens, right? But this is the very beginning seed of it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. I think that is a circles roll.
So what do I do? What does
Yeah.
that mean?
So on your character sheet,
Mm-hmm.
there is an attribute called circles. If you look on the stats and skills,
Yes. I have a 2.
yes, perfect. So basically, circles is what you roll to find people, right? If you don't have a
Okay.
relationship with them, this is what you roll to like be like, hey, I know you, and we should talk. So I'm just gonna roll, or I'm gonna find the like the difficulty for this. Let's see, circles, circles, circles. What do we got?
So basically, I want to find them, but I don't know where to look. Is what the
Yeah,
situation is.
basically, yeah, and a lot of this will also determine how what they think about you when you find them too.
Oh, okay.
Right? So this is like not only are there people like you to talk to in the city, or and is it also like do you have a good standing with the other blue robes,
Right.
right?
Or are they gonna look at me and be like, "Oh, this guy's an
Oh, this
idiot"?
is just a peasant. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been in the city for years now. We didn't like his father, that sort
Yeah.
of thing, right? Okay, so you're trying to find the same life path as you, right? You're trying to find other town officials who just happen to be in the city,
Yeah. Or that we're at the meeting.
and yeah, and then we're out in the
Should they
meeting.
all have been? Should they all have
Pretty
been?
much, yeah.
Yeah.
Any of them that are in the city should have been there.
They'll
Yeah,
know. They'll know what happened either
yeah,
way.
exactly. Yeah.
So, a question, a
Mhm.
side question: when a situation like this occurs, are do you play like the NPCs?
Yeah, I'm playing everyone who is not
Okay.
you guys. Yep.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
So you're gonna make a circles roll, and I think the difficulty is gonna be an ob 2. So it's gonna be a little hard, but not impossible certainly.
Okay.
So you're going to let's see here. Go ahead and click on circles on the D6 little
Okay.
icon there.
Oh,
Uh,
on the wait, not in
on
my
the
character sheet.
in your character sheet, yeah, the little dice icon next to the little six dots die, six-sided die icon next to circles,
Maybe I'm.
next to B2.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a second. Okay, I see that. The six-sided die.
Yep. Click on
Click
that,
on it.
and it will open up a window.
Okay.
I don't think there's any modifiers. So for circles, you don't get to add a whole lot, except if you had reputations or affiliations. But you don't
But
have
I
any of
don't
those.
with these people.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're just gonna click submit on that, and unless you want to spend a persona point, you're gonna click submit on Artha as well.
On what?
on one of the next window that comes up, the Artha.
It says base obstacle.
Oh, okay. You already clicked through there.
Oh, my bad.
You're good. That works. You're gonna put the base obstacle as 2, and then click submit again. Okay, so you got a 1 and a 4, right? So 1 success. If you want to, you can spend your fate point to re-roll that failed die. And again, so fate points can be used to re-roll 6s, and they can also be used to re-roll 1 failed die in a test. So you only have 1, but if you wanted to, you could spend it to re-roll that failed die.
I only get 1 ever.
No, you only get 1 for this session. At the end of the session, you'll get more fate points and more persona points.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They recharge at the end of the sessions based on what you did with your beliefs and instincts.
Well, I don't know if I'll really need it. Yeah, why not? I'll use it.
Sure, yeah.
I really want to find these guys.
Yeah, so go ahead and put a 0 in that fate bubble there.
Nothing popped up, though. Where am I typing a 0?
So where it says Artha on that character sheet, had a little big bolded Artha, and there's a little fate bubble there. Yeah, has
click
a 1
fate.
Yeah, put a 0 instead of a 1 there.
Okay.
And then you're going to go ahead and put a 1 in the bubble that says F next to circles, which is right above that. Right, so the thing you just used, you put a fate point in that instead. See what I'm pointing at?
Yes. Now what do I do?
Oh no, don't put it there. Sorry. The little F bubble next to it.
Oh, here. Here.
Yeah. Put it in the where it says the F. Yeah, put a 1 in that.
There.
Yep. Yeah, so basically you spent a fate in circles is the idea. And if you get enough of fate, persona, and deeds in one thing, then you get extra cool things that happen.
Okay.
Cool. So now go ahead and in the chat window type /R space 1d6.
No, I got a 1.
That is a 1. All right, so no extra successes there.
So I didn't find them.
So, no, I mean, so this is what happens, right? So there are 2 options for me as the GM here, right? I can say, they don't exist, you can't find them. Or I can say, I can invoke what's called the enmity clause. When a player searches for a contact via his circles, but fails the roll, the GM has the option to call on the enmity clause. Rather than finding someone who is favorably disposed to the character, the player finds he has an enemy out there. Someone who feels insulted, mocked, intimidated, cheated, or scorned by the character. So that's obviously what I'm going to do.
Okay, yeah.
So, right, you are not welcome and or liked in the noble court. I guess, Alpheus, you tell me...
With everyone or just the people I found?
With the person you found, but it's unlikely you'll find other people who... There might be one particular person, but yeah, as of right now, the general
But there's nothing they can do about it, right?
Well, I mean, maybe, but that would be a whole thing. So, I mean, Alpheus,
but I can...
You can
Sorry,
still
do
talk
I
to
have
him
the ability to change someone's opinion of me?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yes.
Like using persuasion and stuff?
Exactly.
Okay.
You're just basically you're at a difficulty.
I'm starting off with the cards stacked against me.
Exactly. You have basically a +2 ob to any social skill done to interact with this person that you find.
Oh, okay.
And so you tell me, Alpheus, why does this person particularly that you're going to, who I think this is going to be kind of like the de facto ringleader of the town official, the Blue Robes. Right? He's the guy who's kind of called all the Blue Robes together in some sort of weird coalition where they talk all the time, sort of a thing. He doesn't like you. Why is that? Is it just is it because he knows you, or is it because he doesn't know you?
Both. Like, he knows of me
you
because I'm new, but he doesn't know me because I'm new, and he hates me because I'm new, and he thinks I don't deserve to be there.
Certainly.
He thinks that the town should have picked someone else to represent them.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you're young, you're inexperienced.
Yeah, he's a hater.
You basically just got it because of nepotism. Like, yeah, for sure. So I think this man is a tall and stout man, right? So big belly, but massive just in terms of stature too, just height.
So he's me.
Yeah,
in real
sure.
life.
Sure, Chad. He's a little bit like you. But he is very boisterous, right? So you see all of these town officials basically talking, I don't know, in some sort of forum, part of the council, or not the council, the palace area, right? There's like areas where people can have either formal or informal debates or talks or whatever in the politics of the area. And they're talking about the whole situation, right? They're talking about the king. And what, you just walk up to them?
So is this a place where anyone can like take the floor? Or am I only talking to this
Sure,
one guy?
sure. Yeah, let's say that this is like a kind of a almost like a, yeah, like I'm trying to think of what
Like
it
a
would be.
parliamentary body,
Parliamentary sort of a
I
situation.
don't know
Yeah.
if that's
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah. All the blue robes are like in their seats, and this
Yeah.
boisterous man is talking to them, and they're having
Yeah.
like an informal, basically meeting of the blue robes to be like.
So I walk in,
and you're like late to the meeting. Maybe they didn't even invite you to it.
Yeah, I know they're there. I feel like they're there. I don't
Yeah.
know if they're there, but when I
Yeah.
walk in, everyone's in their seats. Everyone's whispering and grumbling, and
Yeah.
you could tell there's a sense of worry. But then the head blue robe is up there. Well, you decide what he's doing, but I sit in my seat quietly and just listen to what he has to say.
Yeah. Okay. So you walk in. Everybody gives you a look,
Yeah.
but they don't say anything as you sit down. They're like, oh,
I kind of
okay.
walk in like sheepishly. I'm like, oh, freak out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so this guy is talking about the king, and he basically says like, let's see, what would his position be exactly? I think he says, it's obvious to me that we should throw our lot in behind Lord Soter. He obviously has he has a handle on the situation. He has an ear with the king, and if push comes to shove, as we all know it will, Thestios is going to be going down one way or the other, either by his hand or someone else's. I say Lord Soter is our best option. Now, this doesn't mean that we are going to disobey the king in any of his decrees, because, as we saw today, that is tantamount to suicide. But I suggest we quietly and surely throw in our lot with Lord Soter. Does everyone agree? And so, Alpheus, you know Lord Soter. Lord, and just for everybody's like spelling of this, right? So this is how you spell Lord Soter. And Soter, he is an absolute douche. Like, he is the epitome of scheming nobleman that you hate in politics. Like, I think he's the guy who's like in charge of your province, right? Okay. So you're in charge of the town, but he's like the guy directly above you.
He's like the regional governor.
He's like the regional governor of your land, the part of the land where your village is. Yeah, exactly. And so he is very important in the noble court, specifically because your like county is like makes the most food probably for the place. There's a lot of important like terrain and resources there, very strategic. And yeah, Lord Soter is you've never had good, not only a good vibe from him, but also just any good news from him. He is constantly screwed over your village, constantly his tax collectors always, cheat people. It's bad. He's a bad dude. And so, yeah, I mean, hearing this, you're like, no, not him. But I mean, do you speak out?
So I stand up.
Yeah.
That's normal, right?
Yeah, I think he's like reached the end of his like speech basically, and like literally at that point the floor kind of opens up for like a yay or nay or someone to like.
But he's at the head. He's at the head.
He's basically like out on the floor. Yeah, out on the floor.
But when we speak from our seats.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So no one's saying anything. I'm looking around.
I mean, if they're saying anything, they're just kind of like nodding and like say, yeah.
No one is
speaking out against it.
Everyone's kind of. I get the vibe that everyone is on board with this.
Pretty much, yeah.
And so I stand up and I say, What's this guy's name? Linus? Is that his name?
Yep, Linus.
So I say, Honorable Linus, Honorable whatever Linus. What do we call him? Sir? Lord?
Let's just say honorable is the name for the...
Okay.
Like, I think most of the people who are above the town official level have honorable and then a title, but for the town, for the lowest level of politician, it's just, you're just honorable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Honorable Linus, with all due respect to Lord Soter, is there anyone else that we could nominate for this position?
And everyone just kind of looks at you, and Linus kind of frowns, and he says, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. Are you new?
I'm Alpheus from...
Oh yeah, what's the name of your town?
Oh no, I need a town name.
Let's see, Greek town name, generator. Let's say your town...
I wanted to start... I feel like it starts with a K.
With a K? All right. Let me
Not that you could put that in a generator, but...
I can find a good K name. What about this? Corrosia.
Yes. My name is Alpheus. I hail from Corrosia.
And he just kind of folds his arms and he says, ah, yes. And then I don't know what your... we have to generate a lot of names. What's your dad's name?
Alpheus. First.
Yeah, sure. Okay, perfect. No, that works. Yeah, he says, yes, Alpheus the second, I see.
Yeah.
And I think it's frowned upon, at least among the town officials, for it to be a hereditary position. I think it's like usually like a democratic vote from the town. Yeah. And so maybe that is how you were voted in, right? But everybody sees it, especially from these guys' perspective, as like nepotism.
Yeah.
And so he says, yeah, Alpheus the second. I see.
Like, ooh, that's a burn.
Exactly. And he says, do you have a nomination?
Yes, I nominate me.
Really? You actually said that?
Yes.
Yes. Game is starting off wonderfully. Everyone just stares at you like, are you insane? Like, we thought the king was mad, but like, this is another level. And Linus literally he doesn't say anything for a while. He just like stares at you. Do you say anything in response or just...
I look around.
Everyone's just staring at you like, what?
And realize I said the wrong thing, and I sit back down in my seat.
Yes, that's amazing. Like, as if, like, just forget I ever said it.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Okay, yeah. So, Linus just...
Wait, can I roll the persuasion to see if someone votes for me?
I mean, if you want, you could totally press it further. I don't think you can make the roll right then.
Okay.
But if you wanted to press it and be like, here's the reasons, because you have to give people a reason.
No,
right?
I give up. I sit down. For now, I sit down.
For now, yeah.
Yeah, for now, I sit down.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, I suck.
So Linus, I think he just pretends it didn't happen, and he just says, so, Lord Soter is our nomination. And the council just kind of like nods and just adjourns. Like they just start leaving and just kind of forget you're ever there. I think one person, probably like the youngest, I think he's even younger than you. And he's just almost following behind Linus as like almost his like pet or child or something.
Yeah.
He kind of gives you a look. He's like, thin, kind of wiry young fellow, and he looks back at you. He has a blue robe, so he looks back at you and he says, or he doesn't say anything, but he just like gives you like a look of like almost pity. You think you might have some sympathy there. You're not entirely sure why, but like he looks back and he's just like, ugh, sorry, dude, and then runs.
Like
after
he feels
Linus.
bad for me. I
yeah,
feel like
at the very least, he feels bad for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what
so
do you
at
do
least
from there?
I learned from this that everyone agrees the king is crazy.
Yeah, I think at this point everyone agrees the king is crazy, except for the royal guard. I mean, maybe they do think he's crazy, but they don't think that he should be overthrown.
So I think at this point, I should go back to my town, right? Do I live in the town or do I represent them from the city? I forget. Sorry.
Why do I do this to myself?
It's too good. You need a gallon of water
definitely
to wash it
swallowed too
down.
quickly there. You represent them from the town or from the city.
From the city.
Yeah.
Okay. So I go back to my house.
Yeah, do you have like a business
quarters.
or something, right?
Yeah, but it's in my town. It's back
true.
home.
Yeah,
So
you
I go
probably have
back.
quarters here. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fine.
so I go to my town quarters and draft a letter. Do I have to actually roll for writing or something?
You do, yeah. I mean, so who are you drafting a letter to?
I want to write a letter to the town saying, "Here's what just happened,"
Oh,
because they don't know yet.
What do you want? Anything specific to come of it?
I want them to prepare for the worst. Like start. I want to warn them. Like, not
Right.
that I don't think they can arm them. I can't tell them like to arm themselves. Maybe I can. Like,
Seth left.
Seth is gone. Yeah, in my letter I inform them of what has occurred.
Yeah.
And I write it in a way that if somebody read it while it was on the way to my town, it wouldn't seem like I'm disrespecting the king.
Right. Okay.
So that's why I think I'd have to roll a writing, because that would be hard to do, right?
Yeah, I think definitely there's going to be a roll of some sort here. Let us see.
He said his internet went out.
Whoop. I almost want to say this is like a falsehood test, because like it's not the writing itself that is important, unless you were doing like code or something. It sounds like you're just kind of being misleading in the way that you're wording it.
I'm trying to be careful. Yeah, like I'm trying to, because can I just go back to the town?
You could. I mean, it's a bit of ways. I think you don't.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't want to, because there's so much happening here. Like,
right.
By the time you got back, things.
So I
just
think I could
completely
do more for my town
here
in the city than I
Yep.
could there.
Yep.
So I'm gonna write them the letter, and it's gonna say, "Here's what happened," and it's just gonna be stated as a matter of fact, not as no editorializing. Just saying, "Here's what happened today."
Yeah.
Just the facts. And at the end, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna write it in a way that says, "Please, make sure you guys make sure you continue to like can the food or like
Yeah.
Like
But
carry on with I want to write it in a way that I'm conveying to them, like carry on with what you're doing, but like emphasize things that I think they should be doing to protect themselves without telling them you need to prepare because something bad's going to happen."
Yeah,
but imply it.
I think that's a falsehood test.
Okay.
So obviously, I mean, you don't have the skill, unfortunately, right? So
okay.
This will be a little bit more difficult than it would be otherwise. So what I'm going to do is, on your character sheet, I just added on the bottom.
Ooh, so if I roll bad, I could get in trouble for this, right? Like,
yes.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah,
exactly.
I'm doing it because I care about my people above anything else.
Exactly.
I'm doing it.
So I just added falsehood to your being learned on the bottom of that stats and skills thing there. So basically, what this means is it will double when you roll there using that D6 icon there. It'll whatever ob you put in, it will double it, because that's what happens when you're doing something that's being learned.
Okay.
So it's against, normally falsehood is against like the will of who you're trying to lie to. I don't think, like, it's not like the king himself is going to read this letter before it goes there. It's probably going to be some clerk that might catch it and be like, wait a second, something's weird here.
And it doesn't have to be opened, right?
Right.
I'm just saying in case it does.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to put the difficulty at 3, which isn't difficult under normal circumstances, but unfortunately because it's falsehood or because it's being learned, it's going to double to 6, which is functionally impossible for you, especially because you use the fate point.
I have no skills, yeah.
But you have to.
I would have to roll a 6.
Yeah, but basically,
so what's the negative outcome?
Negative outcome is
I couldn't write it exactly the way I needed to.
Basically, and someone will probably see it who shouldn't have and get something.
Okay,
and
that's
so
fine.
This is the thing. At this point, so one of the rules of Burning Wheel is once you hear the obstacle, you have to roll no matter what.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm doing this.
And I figured you were going to do it no matter what anyway.
I have to because my beliefs.
Exactly. So go ahead and click on the D6 there and just go to
next to falsehood.
And then submit until you get to base obstacle and then put in 3.
Additional complication 0.
No. Yeah.
Leave it.
Yeah.
0. Okay.
Yeah.
2 successes.
2 successes out of 6. Okay, so what you can do though.
Oh, I needed 6.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're gonna go ahead on will up at the top of your stats there. Mark a difficult test. Because falsehood is based off of your will, you get a test for that instead. If your falsehood test had been a routine, then you would mark one of those bubbles down by your being learned, and once you get 6 of those for falsehood, you unlock it as a skill that you know. So by using skills that you don't have enough, you can advance them and actually get them as skills you do have.
So what do I need to do?
So go to the top.
Because I think falsehood would be a good skill to have.
Yeah. So go. I mean, you already rolled it, right? So you get a difficult test from this. Is basically what I'm saying. So go to the top left of your page there, and will is one of the stats at the top.
Yeah.
Mark a difficult bubble there.
Okay.
Yep.
I did.
So once you get 2 of those and 1 challenging, then you will advance your will. So that'll be good for you.
Cool.
But yeah, so that happens. So let me switch around the camera so everybody's in the right place again.
Carly is Seth.
Yeah, exactly. So go ahead and start your cameras when it pops up for you.
Just love my internet so much.
I know. I can imagine.
Are Carly and Maria switched?
They are right now, but they're not supposed to be. Maria, turn your camera on. There you go. You're muted.
You're muted too.
I'm being abused
because I could hear you from the other room. But...
Yeah.
Oh.
There we go. Oh, so Seth, the only thing you missed is Alpheus tried to write a letter back to his hometown in such a way that he would get them to prepare for the worst, but if anyone else read the letter, they wouldn't know he's telling them to prepare for the worst, and he failed. So someone is probably going to see this letter who shouldn't see it and be like, wait a second, why is Alpheus interesting? So that's a note to myself.
I'm going to get reported.
Exactly. Yeah, so Alpheus is just kind of looking at this situation and being like, all right, this is going to be interesting. And I think we pop over to Cyrillus.
Let alone I already exposed myself at the meeting
exactly.
saying, pick me.
I love that. You literally were like, you should nominate me. Yeah, it's great. It's great because Alpheus obviously doesn't understand the politics of the city, which he wouldn't.
He
so
wouldn't.
It makes total sense, yeah. So Cyrillus, we see you, right, with the royal guard marching, escorting the king back to his quarters after the debauchery that just happened in front of the temple, or in front of the palace. Depravity maybe is a better word. Your cousin is next to you. You're all in your armor. You're just seriously walking him back, and the king is just raving to himself. Right? He says stuff like, "The God speaks. The cracks in the soul. They tell me. They show me." And he's just muttering to himself. What do we see from you as you're just walking along with him?
I have some facial expressions.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of just head down, listening and walking along, taking him where he goes.
Yeah. And so he goes back to his living quarters, right? His lavish quarters. And he just goes ahead and, has a slave bring him some food. He just starts chowing down, still muttering to himself. And you're like, I think, relieved at that point to go do whatever. And some other of the royal guards, some of the people who were with you, just stay at the quarters and guard him. But at this point, like, you're off. You're kind of off duty right now. That was your shift. What would Cyrillus do next? Like, what is he?
I think he needs a drink.
Yeah, of course. So, what kind of establishment does Cyrillus usually frequent?
Well,
do you go to the upscale like bars in the noble quarter, or?
No, I don't think
Slumming
that's
around at
really
the
his
docks?
crowd. Yeah. Even though he's in the city guard, he likes a little more not nice places.
He likes
So
cheap
he's gonna
beer.
go somewhere.
You like slumming it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you go down to the dock, dock quarter or whatever, dock district, and I think the name of this establishment, I don't know, what's a good, like, a tavern name? I don't even have an idea. I'm going to look up a generator, but if someone comes up with something better. The first one that comes up is the Puzzling Salad. One of these is the Upset Pegasus.
Oh gosh.
These are horrible names. Oh, here we go. The name of this tavern is called the Lonely Cliff.
Okay.
So this is the Lonely Cliff is the tavern you tend to frequent. Are you going here with like some of your like Royal Guard buddies? Or is this like just you by yourself?
I don't really think they would go there
That's fair.
unless like my cousin was with me, but also we're not that close. So.
Got it. Yeah. So are you meeting up maybe with some like former sailor or city guard people? People who
Yeah,
need-
I think I'd probably like to see, because everyone in the city was there. I think I want to get an idea of what, like, I care about the sea industry mostly. So I kind of want an idea of what they think is going on.
Yeah,
like
go
what
down
they
to the
thought of
sailor
everything
district.
that just happened.
Yeah, and just yeah. I think probably what you're gonna do. So literally, what you want to do, right, is you want to drink with people and get information,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Let me just double check real quick what your skills are, because I'm thinking you're rolling a drinking roll.
Okay.
I'm thinking you can use that to just apply for information.
Mm-hmm.
Because okay, drinking, the skill says it's the ability to drink as much as possible without getting drunk, right?
Right.
Or without at least showing that you're drunk.
Right.
And I think if you put on the table, right, like, I want answers to questions, or maybe it's probably not as explicit as that, but like you're just basically using your drinking prowess as like brownie points to get people to talk to you. I think that's probably what's happening here, right? And so I think you're going to make a drinking roll. And so there's a rule in the game called forking. It's an acronym called Fields of Related Knowledge. Basically, it means if you have a skill that would help you in a situation where you're rolling another skill, you can get an extra die for it. And I think in this situation, so this is something to look out for whenever you make a skill roll. Look at your other skills and be like, oh, is there another skill that helps me with this? But I think in this situation, sailor-wise, makes total sense, right? Because you're talking to sailors, you know about sailors, you know what makes them tick, so you can get an extra die from that.
Okay.
So if you want to, go ahead and roll, click on that D6 next to drinking on your character
Okay,
sheet.
so I click on my person on attributes and abilities.
And then you go to the character sheet tab at the top,
Okay.
and then stats and skills as the other tab below that. Sure to be on it.
Okay, skills.
Yeah. You see like stats and
then I
skills,
look
and you see
for-
stats, attributes, you
And
see all
there's
that.
drinking. Okay,
Yeah.
I see. Drinking.
Yep. Click the little D6 next to drinking.
Okay.
And then you're going to put a 1 in for modifier because you have that extra die from sailor
One.
wise.
Okay.
And
I hit
then
submit.
I assume, and then I assume you're not going to want to spend a persona point on this.
I have Artha, so Artha 0.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then,
And then
the ob is going to be, I don't know. Let's look at drinking, shall we? What kind of obs does it tell us? The skill is best used as a versus test between drinkers. Yeah, okay. Let's see if there's... I'll find one of these character sheets I've popped open. Does this guy have drinking as a skill? No, he doesn't. Okay, I'm just going to roll for this random person you're drinking against and having this contest, right? Just unimportant sailor or city guard, but like this is just to show your prowess, right? I'm going to roll for him. And one thing you can do if you're ever making rolls, you can do after your like D6 that you put in, right, /R space, whatever, D6, you can also do greater than 4. And if you do that, then it will automatically tell you whether or not you got successes or not. As one of the macros on here. You got a 0. All right, your ob is 1, Cyrillus.
Okay, so submit on
as long as you
1.
get at least 1 success, you will succeed. There you go. You drink him into oblivion. Okay, so Cyrillus, please describe for us what this looks like the environments of the bar, the people you're drinking against, how it goes down. Tell us a little bit of story here.
It's like kind of dark in there. We've got like a couple. I mean, it's still day. Yes.
It's always day. Remember?
Oh, duh. Okay, yeah. So there aren't many windows, so like it's a little light in there, but there's kind of an ambiance. There is
kind of feels like the bowels of a ship.
Sure, that's perfect.
Yeah.
You can hear the waves crashing along the dock, and it does not smell good in there because there's nasty sailors doing their thing. It's very loud because they're boisterous. You're hearing some things you don't really want to hear, but you're going to hear them. And there is, let's say there's a performer there.
What kind of thing is he performing?
They have some sort of instrument where it's like a little woodwind type thing.
Yeah, like
and like they half seem to know what they're doing.
Okay, I mean that's better than the usual instruments or the usual performers that are in this bar.
Mm-hmm. So I guess there is a bar and like a few tables, and I guess I'm at the bar.
Yeah.
With people.
Mm-hmm.
So is there anything else?
I mean, yeah, how does the drinking contest go down? Right? Like,
okay.
Do you literally go up to someone and challenge them? Like, does he challenge you? How does this happen?
I would say I kind of go up to the bar and I sit next to this person and we like make some small talk. And then I probably offer them a drink because it's not very expensive at this place. And so I just kind of continually offer until... Can I do that?
I think that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, just checking. So I just kind of offer a couple, and I mean, I don't have to give him many anyway.
Mm-hmm. So is it literally you just keep giving this guy drinks until he passes out?
Yeah, I mean, until he's a little... He's not passing out. I got to get the information from him.
Well, I mean, you can get the information from the other people who see the fact that you just had a drinking contest with this dude and made him pass out, right? That's another option.
Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah, I love the idea that Cyrillus, like, impromptu, like, really subtly starts a drinking contest because he just keeps ordering drinks, and then the guy just slowly starts to understand what's happening, and he just looks over, he's like, all right, and then you just start to pile more and more drinks in, and eventually you get to the point where you're just like, yeah, I could do this all day, and he's just literally like, like so dead, so passed out. And then at that point, he just topples off the stool backward, crashes to the
Mhm.
ground, and the whole bar has been just tensely watching this as everybody understands what's going on, and they just all start cheering. And then, yeah, we see like a cut from that point to just you're talking to random people, right?
Okay.
Yeah, asking them questions. What do you want to know, Cyrillus? Right? You said like the basic sentiment, right?
I want to know, like, what do they think is gonna happen? Like, what do they think about the situation that just happened? What do they think is going to happen because of that?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think since you're in a sailor bar, I think the general sentiment is, oh no, this is a horrible idea, because or a horrible turn of events, because like he basically just blasphemed the god of the ocean. Like we're all gonna drown now. Like
mm,
a lot of people are like, I'm gonna like have to give like 3 extra sacrifices every time I go out onto the sea. Like it's that sort of vibe for sure.
okay.
I think you hear some people starting to talk about like maybe I'm just gonna move to Gyrodes. Like I don't know if I want to stay here anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, generally bad. And I think at one point, Cyrillus, the person who's been like serving you at the bar, is a very handsome woman, who it's like the sort of thing where she's kind of half flirting with you and has been for a while, but
Okay.
nothing's ever really happened between you. But you've come to this bar often enough that she's just like, okay, yeah, I know you, I like you. Her name is I don't know what's a good name. So her name is A.T. So yeah, you know that person at least at the bar, and I think she's the one who like you get a lot of conversation out of just because you guys talk a lot anyway. So she says something along the lines of like, after the one guy says, I'm gonna have to give 3 sacrifices more every time I go out to sea. She says, well, Cyrillus, you're the big man up in the palace. Do you think you could sway the king's mind one way or the other on this? It seems like he should, at the very least, appoint a new high priest, and hopefully one that can help get us back in a right standing with Pyrrhus.
So I'm gonna tell her like, basically that's what I want to do. I want to like fix what's happening.
Yeah.
But I can't promise anything because everyone saw how crazy that was.
Yeah. Do you think the king? And she's kind of trails off because she's like, this is gonna be a little almost treasonous, maybe not. I don't know. And she basically says, "Do you think he's long for the position?" And basically what she's just asked is, "Do you think God will still be God tomorrow?" Right? That's the level of like just kind of impropriety that she just said.
Okay. Yes, I do, but repeat the question.
Yeah, she was like, "Do you think he's long for the position?"
Okay. And so that means, repeat what it means again.
As in, like, basically, of course he's gonna have the position. He's literally like the prophet king of the god himself, like of the ocean god. He's supposed to be in charge. So like saying, is he long for the position is kind of heretical.
Okay.
She's trying to just dance around it. She's not saying specifically, do you think he'll be overthrown?
Okay.
But
that's
everyone's question.
I think okay, I got it now. So I think people probably are going to try to do some things behind the scenes and off him, but I'm going to try to make sure that doesn't happen. because that would not be good.
Oh, of course not.
I don't think.
I wouldn't suggest such a thing. Of course, Cyrillus.
Mm-hmm.
He gives you a
Because
smile.
while we're not sure what's going on with him and the gods right now, but I know if someone takes care of him, the gods certainly wouldn't be happy with that either.
Of course not. Well, what do you think the solution is then? And at this point, Lila the sailors are like leaning in, like, all right, you tell us, big man. Like, what is the solution here?
The solution. I don't think there is an easy solution.
Yeah, everybody kind of like nods and yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think he can't. Killing him is definitely not an option. I think we can all agree on that.
Oh, yeah, no, of course, yeah.
But it might be, he might be ready to step down, or he could, he's getting old. Something could happen. So I think we need to look into his bloodline and see what's going on there. See if there's anyone.
The princess. Oh, yes.
The princess.
Someone needs to marry Avra.
Probably.
Yeah, and they kind of nod like, okay, that's the solution. Yeah, got it. Okay. And then AC looks back at you, Cyrillus, and says, and she's like doing the proverbial like barkeep thing, like washing out a cup. And she says, and who do you think that will be?
So far, I haven't seen much of the princess. I've mostly been with the king. I've seen her a couple times. I've seen one guy I've seen a little bit, but I don't really know anything at all.
I've heard she's a looker. Has a frail constitution, though. Might not be the best for baby making.
If she is, then maybe she'll find a husband soon.
Yes. And then I think one of the guys, the guy who said the thing about the sacrifice, says, well, I think we can all toast to that, to Avra, to Princess Avra and her soon-to-be matrimonies, and hopefully that will solve all of our problems. And everybody like raises their glass and drinks.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Speaking of Avra, what are you up to?
Doing some falconry, my man.
Oh, okay. What does that look like? Is this like, are the women having a contest? Are you practicing?
I think right now she's just practicing by herself. Just on whatever piece of land they have, like connected to the palace.
Oh yeah, they have like giant royal gardens.
Yeah.
And stuff. Yeah. There honestly, there's like probably a giant aviary.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think probably falconry in this setting, because they're not actual falcons, they're like weird tropical hawkbirds things. I think a lot of what they do is the sort of hunting, like sport hunting they do, has a lot to do with like the jungle, right? So they would like grab like squirrels or monkeys or that sort of thing instead of like going across a field and grabbing rabbits or whatever. So there's probably like aerial maneuvers that you could do like through the trees that is impressive, those sorts of things. So you're just like practicing, and there's not really a role there. We can say you spend some time practicing this thing. And is anyone else there? Is it just you?
I think it's just me.
Yeah, I mean, so what do we see from this? What is Ava doing this to like get her mind off of what just happened? Is that kind of what's happening? Yeah, that's what I figured. So I think what are you specifically training him to do right now?
I feel like I'm working on some kind of maneuver where he flies above the trees and then does like a dive bomb into them and then like through them and weaves through a bunch of trees. Something cool like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This would also be impressive because it's a giant bird too. So.
Yes.
Cool. So we see Alikos do this maneuver perfectly and come back to you. And this is just me kind of like guessing at where the scene is going, but I'd imagine that Avra maybe didn't even like pay attention to the fact that he did it perfectly, and you're just like, run it again, that sort of thing, right? Because you're just like, I'm not even really paying attention. Like, I just need to focus on this. And so Alikos stops, and he hops onto like a branch nearby you, because he went back to your like hand right after you did this maneuver. He just kind of flaps over, lands on probably like, honestly, maybe not a branch, but like a specific stand made for him, and then starts like eating some sort of, meat out of a bowl, as like reward for doing the thing. And he scarfs it down and then looks at you and then says, because you can speak to him, he says, I'm trying to think of what his voice is.
Don't make it like a parody voice.
Oh, no.
Okay, good.
The violence disturbed you then.
So he's gonna sound like he's gonna sound like Buck then.
I mean, a little bit more of a serious Buck, but yeah.
Yeah. She just says, indeed.
You are worried about your father's mental state.
Yes.
What will you do?
I don't know. Maybe I'll look into it, see if there's something more. It can't just be old age. It doesn't make sense.
Something strange is happening.
Yes.
And then I think he says, I think we've done enough practice for today. And like, I think he acts like this sometimes. Like he's not your pet.
Yeah.
Right. He's just like, all right, I think like I'm done. You're done. Yeah. And so he looks at you and he says, you should go spend some time with Caledon. He seems to always put you in a good mood.
She blushes.
And he just kind of like, stretches out his wings and almost does like a little bit of a parrot laugh sort of a thing, and then folds his wings back up, eats another thing of meat, scarfs it down. It's this raw meat. What do you do?
I guess just walk back into the palace.
Yeah. Do you go find Caledon, or do you do something else? Right, because you have a belief about Caledon, you have a belief about your father.
I feel like she would like. I was thinking like, oh, maybe she'd like go to the library, but academics is not as much of a feminine thing as it is a masculine thing, so that probably wouldn't be her inclination.
Yeah.
To do that.
Carly's like, what would it be like to not want to read a book?
Yeah. I mean, I was mainly thinking in the sense of like her trying to figure out something about her dad's
certainly.
illness. But I don't think her first inclination would be to go to the library to like read something about mental illness.
I mean, I think it would. I think probably it would be either find Caledon or find some other man who could find a book for you and read, or had read a book.
That's fair.
Right?
Yeah, she probably does go find Caledon then.
Yeah, so maybe she thinks she's like, I'm gonna go find Caledon, but I'm not gonna do it because I like him.
Yeah.
I'm doing it because I need him to talk about this thing, but like also kind of because I like him. Cool. I think Caledon is there's basically probably what amounts to a dueling arena, but for arguing with people in the noble court.
So like a lecture hall.
Yeah, it's literally just like a lecture hall, and Caledon is in a heated debate with another nobleman about, let's see, about like some sort of like historical battle, whether or not it was like significant. Is like one person's like, nah, it wasn't significant. It didn't actually accomplish much. It was a bad idea for us to get into that war, and that's I think what Caledon is arguing. And the other guy is like, no, that was completely significant, and like it changed everything about the way we interact with other kingdoms, and so on and so forth. And it comes to a head, right? And I think it's kind of unclear who won. It's like you kind of go either way. They made some pretty good arguments, but they do the normal thing where they like step down from their various debate lecterns and then go shake each other's hands and so on and so forth. And there's a smattering of other nobles in the hall, and they politely clap. And then Caledon notices you. Do you have Alikos with you at this point?
Probably.
Okay.
I feel like it's especially like show of sophistication and power for a woman to like walk into a room full of men with her bird.
Yes. Oh yeah, certainly. Yeah. I mean, it's basically telling them like, hey, I may be a frail feminine person, but my bird is epic and will tear you to pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Caledon notices you and does a slight smile and then walks over. He has a couple of books tucked under his arm, and he walks over and he says, Havra, good to see you. And Caledon is played by David Cate. So looks like that. And he says, good to see you. What you just said, good to see you too.
Yeah.
He says, what brings you into the Hall of the Masculine?
Yeah, she chuckles and just says, well, I was hoping you could help me look into something.
Oh, of course. Yeah. What sort of thing?
I think she kind of looks around her to see if there's anyone like super close to them, like within hearing distance.
Yeah, I think you notice a really attractive couple. Right? So this female walked in, or maybe was there watching, and maybe this person was the other person who Caledon was debating with. But I think everyone knows in the court this guy is the most handsome guy in the court, right? Like he is the guy. And he's also just very suave and smooth. Anything he says, people usually listen to it. But his wife, or maybe betrothed, let's say, yeah, I think his betrothed, is also incredibly good looking. Like they're like power couple of the city sort of a thing.
Is her bird bigger than mine?
Yes, of course it is. Yeah.
Dang it.
And it has like, red tufts, and blood red. And, they're talking right, off to the side.
I also want to note that I think she often wears orange or any kind of orange like hue or tint, or shade, I guess is the word I'm looking for, not hue, because it matches Alikos, and so
you match your bird.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so you know that they're nearby and they might hear you if you say anything.
Okay.
Right, so he leans down and kisses her, and then she basically says something along the lines of, "You did so wonderful, darling." And they both have like bedroom eyes at that point.
Okay. I think she would just invite him back to the palace library.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're walking there, and I think he seems distracted by something, and finally he asks, Evra, I had a question for you. It's been, well, on my mind. What do you think of what happened today with the high priest? And he says, I literally cannot remember. Pyrrhus. Pyrrhus. So many different
Maria looks up
pronunciations.
triggered.
He says, Pyrrhus isn't my patron god or anything, but it does seem significant that your father would execute the high priest. Have you heard anything of his betrayal, his schemes? You're closer to the noble court than I am.
She just shakes her head and kind of looks down at her feet as they walk. And says, "No, I've known no details about that. I was as shocked as everyone."
Yes. Well, it is unfortunate that your father has declined so much in recent months. Unfortunate indeed.
She nods.
You just tell he has a lot in his mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get to the library, and what do you ask him about, basically?
Yeah, so basically she's like, along those lines, I'm not completely convinced that my father's unstableness is due to a simple physical or mental illness or to old age, but that perhaps it was purposeful somehow.
Purposeful? Are you saying someone, what, cursed him? A god cursed him, maybe?
I don't know.
Interesting. And you wanted me to look into this?
If you could. I'm not one for books, obviously.
No, of course not. So, discover if there was some sort of method that could be used, either natural or supernatural, to cause madness like this?
Yes.
And I think you've seen his eyes, he starts to get this like, oh, okay, project, like research. And then he shuts it down in his own mind and he says, Ever, I, of course, would love to help you, but I don't think I should be involved in this. I mean, you know my positions. I don't think that discovering more about the situation will help me step away when I need to.
I don't know what he means by that.
And he basically means, like, he really wants to help and he really wants to marry you, but in his mind, or maybe, I don't know if we decided whether or not he, like, is into you that way specifically yet. But, like, for him, he's trying to stay as far away from the king situation as possible so that he doesn't feel obligated to try to step in and solve a problem, because he feels like if he does, he'll be compromising his morality. So, right, he starts to be like, and then he's like, I just can't. And okay, you can make a roll and stuff, but like his initial response is like, I need to be able to step away when I need to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she just says, you would be free to step away at any time. I just need a place to start to figure this out. To see if I'm right in any degree.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that seems like a pretty good argument. What skills do you have to back it up?
Probably not. Let's see.
Well, you don't have persuasion, so
I really need to prioritize that in this game.
yeah. Because the thing is, yeah. I think what you just described is a persuasion test. Because it's not soothing platitudes and it's not oratory. So let's go ahead and add a being learn skill. Okay, so let's see. What is his will? His will is 5. You're gonna fail this roll.
It's fine, I'm used to it.
So go ahead and click through. What's Abba's 5?
Mm-hmm. I guess because it's being learned, I can't fork anything in, right?
Nope. You would be able to fork in plenty of things, but you don't have the skill, so.
Base op is 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. You got a 2 out of 10. All right, you can mark a difficult test in your will. But yeah. So you say that, and he says, "It does hurt me to refuse you. You know that. But it just can't be like that. I can't step into this, especially not now. I don't want to say that I'm afraid for my life, because it's not that exactly, but not only do I not want to be king, but I also don't want to die opposing your father. I can do good in other ways. I have to be alive to do them." And again, you could technically use a different skill, right? And try a different tactic here.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting how you took it, because she's right now just trying to get him to like help her with this research thing, and obviously he's like, oh, but obviously this is going to lead to like,
exactly, yeah,
we want to get married and everything.
Exactly. And part of it too is he's like, the high priest just got murdered today. If I start looking into the madness of the king, I will want to continue looking into it. And 2, if I do that, I will eventually get to a point where I will probably be the next person he kills. So he's like, I can't start that road. Like, you could probably get away with it, but I can't.
Doesn't the king like hate me though?
Yes.
Yeah.
You probably could still get away with it for a while, at least, though.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
What skills do I have?
I mean, so one option comes to mind. You could just like beg and plead with him and do soothing platitudes and just be like basically pout.
Yeah, I don't think she'd do that though.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
She's too dignified for that.
She has a big honking bird on her shoulder.
Yes.
You could do an oratory.
She's very dignified.
You could literally make a speech.
The
Carly's like that. I have to do a speech.
I don't want to write a declamation right now. Heck not.
Other than that, I don't see a whole lot that
Yeah.
helps here.
I'm just trying to think of how she would respond to that in a way that makes it possible for me to maybe convince him later on.
Yeah. You try to make him feel guilty because you'd be like, well, I'm going to look into it anyway. And if I die, then it's going to be on your shoulders.
She also wouldn't do that. This is the problem. I make characters that wouldn't do the annoying things.
You mean the helpful things. The things that actually get results.
Depends on who's defining those words.
Yeah, true.
How forward would it be in this culture for her to like take his hand?
I don't know. What do you want to be true? Not forward, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, not kind of in between.
How about you roll an etiquette roll to decide that? Right? What is the etiquette of this situation? Let's see. Just make it an odd one test.
Okay.
Right? So is it appropriate for you, but important and intimate? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So whatever you want to be true. So you, obviously it's like it's not that people normally just do this all the time. So it's significant, but it's not inappropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess kind of equivalent to our culture.
Yeah.
Whereas like you wouldn't just grab someone's hand randomly, but
if you're close with them, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Or if you wanted to be close with them.
Yeah, so she like just grabs his hand softly. And just kind of looks at him and basically asks, I don't know how she'd word this. Like, not at this time, but do you think never?
That sounds like a soothing platitudes. Yeah. Right? You could be like, please don't be angry with me. Do you think you could think about it? Right? Yeah. Let's see. I think it's still against his will, though.
Oh no.
Which is 5. Let me double check.
Ooh, can I fork in romance-wise?
You can fork in romance-wise. You can fork in noble-wise.
Okay.
Let's see, what else do you got?
And can I fork in that etiquette roll that I did?
Yes. Yeah. For sure.
I've got 3 modifiers.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
2 5 ob.
No.
All
right. You got a 6. But you only have 1 fate. So you could spend a fate. There'd be a 1 in 12 chance you would succeed because you would need to roll a 6 and then another success. This is also likely the only roll left of the game or this session that you'll do. So.
Yeah, I might as well.
Sure. Roll that d6 like a d6.
Just 1d6?
Yep. If you want to do the greater than 4 exclamation point, it can reroll automatically.
Oh no.
No, just the 1. Yeah, so I think for basically what this means is it's not that you can never come to him again for anything. It's just saying like he's like Avra, I am not going to get involved in the king's madness. And then he just walks away. right? Like that is one avenue that he will not help you with. He will not help you find out more about the king's madness. And he
Find
seems,
someone who will.
yeah, exactly. He seems a little hurt. He's like, you know what I feel about this, and you keep pressing it, like. So yeah, you can mark that difficult soothing platitudes test though,
Yay.
and the fate you spent in it.
Yeah.
So that's fun. Yeah. So we are getting close to the end of our time here. Is there anyone that wants one more quick scene before we wrap up? You could go back to Ophelia.
I don't know. I'm good. Unless there's something that we want to do, we can.
Well, the gods did tell you, hey, there's someone we want you to meet in the city.
This is true. Where would that even be?
They will guide you.
They will guide
she'd
me,
have to
so I'm
travel
just
to the
blindly
city,
going
right?
into the city.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You succeeded on your guidance roll.
oh yeah. So I'm just blindly going into the city, and it'll just happen to me.
Pretty
As long
much,
as
yeah,
I'm-
right? Like, they're just like, go to this part of the, like, they basically go to the slums, and someone will find you.
Okay. Well, I could go to the slums.
Yeah. Do you do that then?
Yeah.
Cool. So you're walking through, just the not so nice part of town. Did you bring your raven and or your snake with you?
That's a thing, because I don't think I'll bring my raven places with me, because then it's like a twisting of the whole women with falcons.
Yeah.
And I don't want to straight up.
You don't want to
get
be
shanked.
straight up be feminine.
Yeah, and I don't want people to be like, oh, she has like a raven. That's cool. I want to talk to her, because I'm trying to be chill, So I'll probably bring my snake, and since it depends on how big he is, because I have big pockets. So he could be like partly in my pocket and partly like up my arm.
Yeah.
Or something. Like just like in my pocket and then up and then like around,
Yeah,
so his head's
yeah.
at my hand.
Yeah, of
That
course.
sounds like he was going this way. That's not what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could bring my snake boy
Cool. Yeah.
just in case I need him to bite someone.
Mm-hmm. True. Very true. You're just walking around the slums with a snake. No big
Like
deal.
imagine slapping somebody but with a snake.
Yeah. So you're walking along, and you, out of your peripheral, you see in like an alleyway, you see this woman who is just kind of like leaning against the side of the wall of this alley. And she is, I think she has, let me just double check something. She has, yeah, she does. Okay. She is talking to a salamander. And she's like,
like a wet lizard,
like a
that
big
kind of
old wet
salamander?
salamander. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
In her hand, she's
I like
talking
this
to
lady.
it. Yeah. And she basically just saying, yes, you are so pretty. Yes, you are. You are the cutest thing that
This
has
is me
ever
though.
existed. And you just know instantly, Ophelia, you're like, this is the person I'm supposed to talk to.
Obviously.
Okay.
So she's just kissing her salamander.
Gosh. So I go up to her and I'm like, yo, I have a lizard boy as well, except he's a snake. That's not what I would say.
How
to
do you say that?
I would not say that. I
Got
don't
it.
know. I'd probably just go up to her and then wait for her to talk to me, considering I'm not really making the first moves here.
Yeah, you just stand there, stare at her. And she glances up. And right away, Ophelia, you can tell that she's just not right in the head. Like, you just know it.
That's my crowd.
Exactly. And she says, hello, Ophelia. And this woman is, I think, a part of like the dark-skinned ocean-faring race. Right? She is, imagine kind of like a mix between, actually, okay, this girl is played by Zendaya.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Oof.
And
So
so
she's a pretty insane little girl.
yeah. And so she looks up at you. She's totally disheveled. Looks like a beggar or prostitute or something. And she looks up at you and she says, hello, Ophelia.
Okay. I feel like my verbiage is I would just straight up say like, hello, little girl.
Yeah.
To assert my awesome dominance.
Right.
And
Of
at
course.
this point, the snake kind of peeks out of my sleeve, and so I'm kind of playing with him around my fingers. Well, I think he's too big for around my fingers, but I'm just playing with him a little.
Right in your hand, yeah. And if anyone walked by this alley, they'd just be so freaked out right now. Two women with their
kind of lizardry is going on
with their reptiles and amphibians. And sorry, what did you say? You said something, little girl. What was the first part of it?
I just said hello.
Oh, hello. Okay. And she says, "Hello, my name is Althea. I was told to speak with you. I was told you needed guidance, direction,
Oh, heck, that's creepy.
a place to go. My friend Red here can help us."
Okay. Maybe I say, I like hold out my hand and I'm like, may I? Because I want to hold him.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's like, oh, I'm accepting whatever you're doing.
Yeah. She nods enthusiastically and gives you the salamander.
Yay. And I just kind of, and what's his name? Viernan kind of like boops his nose and they're just like, oh, we're friends now.
Yeah,
And
so
they're just hanging out. And I'm like,
Ophelia, right away you can tell this salamander is part of the like secret language stuff, so you can talk to it. And you feel a presence that you felt the time that you what was the question for that? For corruption. Give me a second. I need to double check what that was again. Remember when you entered into a pact with a demon? Oh yeah, this feels like that.
oh, good.
So you can tell that basically the salamander is like the channel through which the demon that is possessing Althea can speak to you. Or, jinn or whatever else this thing is.
Solid. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
you feel this buzz of energy. And I think it probably says, like, I know of you, Ophelia. I have watched you. Prayed for you, even.
Like,
So it's like, no, this
Ophelia
is
just
bad.
goes, yike.
Yeah.
No, she would never say that. So, okay. So I don't know. Okay. Like, am I going somewhere? Like, should I put the salamander on the floor and I'm taken somewhere? Or should
You don't
I
know.
give the
You have no
salamander...
clue. Yeah.
I have no clue? Okay. Prayed for me, even. I feel like I'd want to... my brain just kind of went to, like, that it would be a sing prayer, too, so I'd want to know what the song was.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah. So I just kind of, I guess, say out loud, just, like, teach me the song or, like, show me the song or something.
Yeah. And it says, yes, we can do this. We can also do much, much more. And I think they say, Ophelia, you have attempted once before to join the ranks, to commune with those on the other side. We would like to tell you that you had the right idea at first. You need to gather, collect, find wayward souls, bring them under your wing, as it were. Only together can you do this. Only together can you have what you desire.
Okay.
So basically, it's telling you like, hey, you were part of a cult before, and I know that didn't go so well, but like you need to start another cult, and that is the key to, right? That's the key to getting what you want from these gods.
Oh, that's what the raven feathers are for sure. I give one to each of my little cult babies.
Of course.
Oh, also, I randomly remembered that we said that I've had a kid.
Oh, yeah.
So that we need to remember that.
Are they still alive?
I don't know.
Okay. Just leaving it for me then?
Yeah, you can have fun.
Okay. All right. Cool.
I just didn't want us to forget that bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
Okay,
I mean, basically, right, it's like Althea is the first member of your new congregation.
Oh, I take her. Sweet. I should just straight up take her. So I'll just be like, eh. So I should smile and like give her back her salamander and just kind of, oh, you know, it would be real interesting is like if as I'm putting my hand out with the salamander, Vernon like winds down my arm, winds up her arm and like around her shoulders and then loops back to me and she's like, oh, I'm going now.
Yeah.
And then I just walk away and she follows.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. Awesome. Creepy and awesome. Yeah, and I think it's totally fine, right? Because all of that was part of the guidance roll, right? Like it's not like you have to make a roll to convince her or anything like that. She's possessed by this weird djinn demon thing. Anyway, so
Great.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, do you basically just take her back to your witch cottage? And
yeah, and I'm just like, hi, you're my child now.
Basically, yeah.
So is she like the same age as me or younger?
So
she's
actually,
played by Zendaya then.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's actually 26. But I think she does look young. Oh. I think you got that correct, right?
Because she definitely has childlike mannerisms.
Yes, and it's partially it's just because she's actually insane. Right? She's not right in the head. But okay. Cool, yeah. Sweet. Well, I mean, I think that's probably a good enough place as any to wrap up for now. Right, so it kind of a slow start because we had to get all that first stuff out of the way, but at least we got a scene with everybody. We got to see where they're headed, and next time we can continue finding out all of the messy, dirty secrets and the messy situations everyone will find themselves in when their beliefs are tested. I'm excited. I have lots to think about. I hope you guys had fun.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I am excited to see all the ramifications. I gotta say, Alpheus standing up and saying, nominate me as the king of the city. It was just the best moment. It's amazing. Also, I could just definitely see Andrew Garfield like playing that moment out.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like,
for sure.
I was thinking that in my head, man.
Yeah. Also, the entire time Cyrillus was talking to the people in the bar, I was like, yep, Chris Evans, I could definitely see him saying all of these things.
Oh, yeah.
Totally makes sense. Cool. Awesome. So let's figure out. So the end stuff we do in Burning Wheel, we go through all of our beliefs, instincts, and traits again, and we figure out if we guys got any Artha from them. Right? So I'll run this through with you guys, help you understand what's actually happening here. So if you look at your beliefs, instincts, and traits, starting with you, Alpheus, right? So my people are my highest priority. I will oppose anyone who disgraces us. Basically, right? If you worked towards this belief, you get a fate point. I think you did, right? You made
I
rolls.
tried to.
You definitely tried. And the main criteria for specifically for beliefs is you have to have made a roll towards it. Right, it can be a failure, but you have to have made a roll towards it.
Okay.
And I think that counts though, right? You were trying to oppose the people who were disgracing you, and specifically with the letter, right? The letter was the main thing you did this session to basically.
Well, and my second belief, it says I will use my status to see that the working class is protected.
Yeah,
that was why I did. That's
exactly,
why I stood up in the meeting.
Yeah, so I think 2 fate points for those for sure. I don't think you worked specifically on the justice part, but that can be for next time. So I think 2 fate for the beliefs.
Yeah, no, not the justice part.
Let's see, instincts. If those I've lost or mentioned, then I will grow angry. Didn't come up. Always treat others of the lower classes with respect. Didn't come up really. Always act deferential to those in power. I want to give you a fate point for that. Yeah. I want to give you a fate point because you could have, right? You could have been like, no, I'm serious about this nomination. Us common people need to have a chance at being the monarch. You could have made a whole thing about it, but instantly you were like, oh, that was the wrong move. I'm going to just sit down and pretend it didn't happen, right? That was not what I was expecting to happen. That made the story go in a very interesting direction. Fate point awarded for sure.
Sweet.
So 3 so far. Let's see. I think I'll give you a fate point for pragmatic too, just for that whole thing too, because I mean that was a very much of an outgrowth of that trait. You're just like, yeah, that didn't work. Let's try something else next time. So no persona this time because you didn't complete a belief, but you can get 4 fate points.
Sweet.
So yeah, if you go to your stats and skills part of that again, and in that bubble where it has a 0 in the fate, you can put a 4 there instead.
For
fate.
Am I blind?
The stats and skills part of that page.
I'm on that.
And the middle of that should be a thing called, like it says, Artha.
Oh,
and then
I
the little
see.
bubbles.
I put 4.
Put a 4 in where the 0 is.
There.
Yeah.
There we go.
Perfect. And then Seerless. Let's look at your stuff. The king is not well, but he should not be killed. Even if he needs to go, I will defend him with my life. You didn't defend him with your life.
Mm-mm.
So I don't think there's a fate point there. You
Okay.
talked about it.
Right.
But like you didn't necessarily make a roll towards it at all. Even in like you didn't try to convince
Right.
the sailors that he should not be killed. So
Right.
yeah. So I don't think anything there. The sea industry needs more support, so I will attempt to convince the king to provide it. I mean, that's probably what you were working on, right? Well, because you were trying to like get in touch with the sailors, right? You're trying to get what they're were about, because then you can go back to the king and know that information, right? That was tied up with that, because that was literally the reason you gave.
Yeah, definitely.
Seth, that was literally the reason you gave originally. Was like, I care about the sea industry, so I'm
cool.
going to go talk to the sailors. So I figured that's what you were doing. You were doing it subconsciously.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you did anything with politicians, so nothing there. You ordered a drink, obviously, but it didn't get you into trouble or complicate the story at all.
No, yeah.
And I don't think the other instincts happened. I don't know if your traits really came up either. Maybe veneer of obedience.
Okay, yeah.
Like, I don't know. I guess it's like, are you actually like legit loyal to the king in the ways that you've said so far, like out loud, right? Like when you were talking to the sailors, did you mean what you said? When you didn't, when you did nothing about this guy being murdered in front of you, were you legit being obedient, or was that your veneer of obedience?
Oh, that was the veneer. Yeah, no, I didn't want him to die.
Yeah, right.
That
So
was
you're
crazy.
like, yeah. So it's
Especially
not
because he's the god. Like,
exactly. You were like, no, the sea industry, this is so bad.
Yeah, that's crazy. You still respect the king, even though he killed the.
He has a veneer of respect for the king. But yeah, I'll give you a fate point there. So 2 fate points for you. So you can go the same thing, stats and skills, and where you have the 1 in that little fate bubble in the middle of that part of the sheet.
okay, I see.
Add 2 more to it.
So it's okay,
Yes,
cool.
3 now.
Got it.
Ophelia,
Yes.
let's take a look at your stuff.
Okay.
I believe Aver must be protected. I will keep an eye on her with my raven. I mean, you did it. You didn't make a roll to do it, though. It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
Right. So, in the future, when you have to make an effort to like keep an eye on her, then, you can get fate for that.
Okay.
You avoided the king, right? I'm gonna give you a fate point. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a fate point for that. That, I mean, you could have been there, you could have done stuff, but you just were like, I want to chill out in the woods and not get involved.
That's me always.
Yeah. So your special belief here, I believe my gods are not dead, I will communicate with them. What is the intention of the end goal of that? Because in theory, you want to break these down into smaller pieces. Because obviously you communicated with them, so I think you did it.
It was the thing I told you in the secret.
Right. So that's the main thrust
goal
of it. Okay, so let's do this then.
I think it might have something to do with my child, possibly. I don't really know. That's kind of up to you.
We should definitely have something to do with your child now that I think about it. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So for sure. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know what it is now.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna give you a persona because, I mean, technically, right? I will communicate with them. You did it. You communicated with them, right? That was your goal. You accomplished it, and you succeeded on a challenging test to do so. So that's good. But I would rewrite the second part of that then now to be something more specific, right? Like, I believe my gods are not dead. Now, what are you gonna do about the cult? What are you gonna do about faith? Like, there's several places you could take that.
Okay, so I'll just use my special belief for that special secret goal, and that'll just be for that. Okay.
Sure. Yes, but you take a persona from that. Always choose an animal over a human. Didn't really necessarily come up. You didn't fed you with knives. Your collecting of raven feathers didn't get you into trouble.
Oh, is it supposed to get us into trouble?
Basically, the instincts and traits are like, technically, this can happen with any of them. If a belief, instinct, or trait gets you into trouble or makes the story go in an interesting direction, then you get a fate point.
Okay.
Beliefs also, you get fate points if you work on them, and you get persona if you complete a part of them.
Okay. I was thinking that could probably happen with the black orchids if I'm ever like in a market and I see them and I'm like, gotta have them, time to steal.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Or someone else has a raven.
Attack a raven. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, gosh.
I don't think any of your other like traits came into play in like a negative way necessarily. So
no, it's pretty chill.
Nothing else there, yeah.
For sure. I stole a possessed child.
You did steal a possessed child. So 1 fate point and 1 persona point for you. Right, so again, in those bubbles, you can add 1 to your little fate bubble there and 1 more to the persona bubble there.
Oh, the big one.
Yeah, the big one's in the middle.
So I put fate and they turn it to 1.
Yep, put a fate at 1 and persona at 2 now. Yep.
Done.
Perfect. And last but certainly not least, Avra. Let's look at your stuff. Let's see. You're trying to convince Celadon that he can affect good by assuming the throne in marriage. You worked on it. I mean, convincing him to go in that direction would have helped, but you failed. So fate point. Mm-hmm. You're investigating your father's mental decline. Fate point. And so you were training with Alikos, but so I'm trying to think of how to do this because I think if you say something specific, like I want him to try to do this really complicated maneuver, and honestly, now thinking about it, I probably should have had you made a roll.
Yeah.
To do that.
But I would change it to something like, I believe I can become an accomplished falconer. Like I will impress the noble courts. That would like make more sense.
I think that makes more sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the way that the Burning Wheel rules work, you're not typically making rolls to practice. You're practicing behind the scenes, and that can build up. But, so 2 fate. I don't think any of your other stuff came up. So, 2 fate for you. Now, real quick, there's a couple of other like extra little things that happen that can give you Artha at the end of this. So let me find those. Okay, first one is a fate point is earned if a player can stop the table dead with humor while in character.
Chad.
I was going to say, I think I nominate Alpheus for this, certainly, because literally just stepping up in the middle of everybody and saying, I want to be the king, was amazing. It made me laugh. So you get an extra fate point for that.
Let's go.
Let's see, right skill, right time. If the character has the right skill when no one else does to keep the story moving, he should be rewarded with a fate point. I don't think we had a specific situation like that. This is like something like, oh, this makes total sense. Like, I'm really glad you had this skill, sort of a thing. I don't think anything that particular came up this time. It was all pretty obvious stuff. And I don't think anyone... Yeah, I don't think anyone got any of the other like Persona awards. They're like things like embodiment, when a player captures the mood of the table perfectly and further drives the story onward. Moments like great speeches, desperate decisions, or gruesome revenge. And then mold breaker, when a player comes to a point in the story where his beliefs, instincts, and traits conflict with the decision he must make, a direction in which he must go, and he plays out the inner turmoil, the conflict within his own guts in a believable and engaging manner, then he earns a Persona point. We haven't gotten to that point in the game yet. Everybody's still feeling out their characters. Starting off with stuff, so we'll get there. Certainly, I'm ready for some. I'm ready for some great speeches, desperate decisions, and gruesome revenge, but we'll get there. The only last things we have to take care of with the bookkeeping here is at the end of every session, everyone we double check to see if anyone has any steel tests that they have marked, just because the weird way that steel is marked for advancement. And steel specifically is like your nerve in a tense situation. I think everyone who was at the murder of that guy gets a test for steel because they literally witnessed a murder. So everyone gets an OB3 steel test. Basic, and so the way this works, I'm just going to double check your guys' steel every time here. So, okay. So, Alpheus, you get a difficult steel test.
Do I even have steel?
You have a steel of 3. It's an attribute.
What? Oh, I see.
Avra, you get a challenging steel test. Wow, you only have a steel of 2? That's pathetic.
I'm super weak and frail and sickly.
I know. Cyrillus, I don't even think you get a test for this. You're just so boss with steel already. It doesn't actually phase you. Let's see. I'm just double checking. Yeah, it's a routine test for you, which you don't need. So you're like, yeah, seen that before. And then Ophelia, you weren't there. But
My Raven gets a steel test.
Yeah, you're Raven. But I think you witnessed like supernatural stuff.
And an insane child, lady.
Exactly. I mean, basically, I think it's like, yeah. I mean,
You
it's
talked to a demon through a salamander.
That's pretty sketch.
you did. I don't.
Apparently, she's also.
But she lives for that, though. She loves that stuff.
For me.
So this is what I'm wondering. I'm wondering what kind of steel test it is, because it could be weird, low-grade supernatural phenomena. But
Makes sense.
it could. That's an OB1. But it also could be witnessing or being a party to spirit activity, which is an OB5. Both of those sound like they could have been it. I think I'm gonna lean towards the OB1 though, just because the salamander talked to you, yes, but like it's not like your third eye was open to the realm of demons or anything, right?
Right, it was just a salamander.
It was just a salamander, and it was creepy and weird, but pretty low grade.
But I wasn't staring into the void or anything.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's just an OB1 for you, which, again, you have a 6 steel. Ophelia and Cyrillus have seen some crap, so they aren't fazed by stuff like this, so no advancement there for you. The very last thing we have to figure out is whether Ophelia got an advancement for corruption.
Ooh.
So when you do stuff, tests for advancing corruption are earned through actions in play. If the character meets any of the conditions below, the player must mark down the advancement as if he had passed a test at the appropriate obstacle. Let's see. Did you lie or commit a willful falsehood? Nope, not this time.
Nope. So
Let's see. Cast a spell, learn a new spell, summon an imp for any purpose.
I just prayed real good.
Prayed. I'm trying to figure out if
She
that.
summoned a nematode or whatever that thing was. Why did I say nematode? What is it? Was it a newt?
A salamander.
Salamander.
Oh man.
So some of these are like spirit stuff, but yeah, I mean, I think praying to dead gods should count as something. So let's say it's an odd
Kind of
one.
my day to day.
Exactly. I think it's an.
So what is corruption? What does that actually mean in the game?
Basically, it means for Ophelia, it means basically her touch with the dead gods is slowly corrupting her. And basically, if she does bad things or gets involved in magical things, she.
I mean, the demon was pretty...
advances her corruption. Yeah, exactly. So I think.
I just restarted a cult. Let's be real.
Yeah,
here.
that's pretty
What
bad.
just happened.
Yeah, I think let's give you Ob 1 corruption for casting a spell, like the prayer you did, and Ob 2 corruption for summoning an imp for any purpose, right? Because that was like the weird salamander thing. You got a possessed girl, you're charting a cult, that whole thing. So real quick, your corruption is at 3, which I believe means you get 1 routine test and 1 difficult test for corruption. So you need 1 more difficult and 2 more routines, and then you'll advance your corruption and get a new weird trait.
Yay! Maybe.
Yeah. So
Should I change my character's hair to red hair, or should I just stick with the black hair?
go with the black? Yeah, I think it makes
Black
more
hair.
sense
I was
with
like-
the culture anyway too.
Yeah.
So the one thing I just realized is technically, any of the rest of you could have corruption if you answer yes to some of these questions. So just real quick, none of you have like any of the magic stuff going on, but has any of the other characters ever prayed alone at night to remote unholy gods to aid you? Have any of you done this?
Ever?
Ever?
No,
No.
not me.
Fearless?
I like the ocean god, the sea god. That's the only one that I.
Sure.
It's
Sure.
not an unholy one, though, is it?
No, I don't think so. Avra?
I don't think so. I was thinking about it.
Why are you the one who almost done?
Okay,
I
I'm
kinda
gonna
felt like it
try
would
to go
work.
a different angle with this character than most of my characters.
Right.
I don't think so, but I don't think there's no potential for that in the future.
Okay. Perfect.
I
Fun.
will corrupt you.
Yeah, Ophelia is gonna get you into her cult.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
my guy could pray for some bad stuff to happen.
Yeah, in the future, yeah, certainly. I definitely see in a future where Ophelia converts you guys to her dead god cult. That'd be fun.
Join me, minions.
Have any of you ever entered into a pact with a demon?
No.
All right, no corruption for you guys. You could get corruption
Y'all are
later
lame.
though.
Darn.
All right, I think that is the end of our session for today. This has been Death Unto Madness. Thank you guys for playing. This was so much fun. I'm excited for next week. There you go. That's our session.
Sweet.
Adios. I'm just going to
That was
stop the
fun.
stream.